for the story of Jesus turns water into wine, the object lesson is actually part illustration, and I'm going to show you 2 ways to do it. So the first way that we're going to do this object lesson is very simply, we are going to take a wine glass, we are going to take a bottle of water or a jug of water, and we are going to take red food colouring. So all you do is very simply, you put a splash of red food colouring in at the bottom, and you don't show the children in advance. And then when you come to talk about the story, you talk about, I'll just take the food colouring off my fingers, you talk about Jesus turning water into wine. So you hold the wine glass, hiding the fact that there is red food colouring in there. You take a jug of obviously clear water and pour it in, and magically it changes colour and looks vaguely wine, like quite red wine. So when I use this in a lesson, I tend to present it that, wow, I've been learning some magic tricks, let me show you one, or oh, I've just turned water into wine, what? And kind of go along the line of, wow, isn't that amazing? And then explain that I've just performed a trick. And then we talk about how Jesus, when he turned water into wine, he actually performed a miracle. Then I talk about what is a miracle, and depending on the age group, either tell them or engage their input. And then talk about, so a miracle is when something impossible happens, and that our God is a God of miracles, and that Jesus performed miracles demonstrates that he's God's chosen king. So it is more of an illustration, but then it leads into an explanation of the story. Okay, so for the second version, what you need to do is you again need your jug of water. You again need your food colouring, but this time, instead of a wine glass, we're going to use a jam jar that's nice and clear. So I've taken the labels off this one. And you also need some kitchen roll, and you need some scissors. And then what I've done is you take the kitchen roll and you cut it to the size of the lid of the jam jar, like I have here. Then what you do is you blot onto it some red food colouring, let it dry a little bit, and patch it up. Now you can't see probably too well, but there's a little square here covering it up so you can't see that there's red underneath on this side. I've just stuck that bit on. And then what you do is, this is just sticky black tape, double-sided tape, or you could just use sellotape, and I'm going to put that inside the lid. So let me do that. So now I have inside my lid kitchen towel, which is super absorbent, and also behind there is a big red splodge of dried red food colouring. So I would tell the story the same as before, and I'd pour the water into the jam jar, and then I would screw the lid on. And if you didn't want to see the children to see it at all, you could not show them that side, just a jam jar lid. You screw it on nice and tight, and then while you're telling the story, you start shaking the jam jar and it turns red. Now hopefully yours is pinned down better than mine, and it needed a bit more tape on there because mine started to dangle down. But you can again see that you can say, wow, you've done a miracle. Not really, you performed a trick, and then go on to talk about how amazing Jesus is by turning water into wine.